Trails Collective, shaking. Ian here. FKT Friday for, where are we? Gotta look at my computer. November 13th, 2020. So as we started last week, breaking things in the weekly rundown up into segments to try to make them a little bit easier to digest on commutes. And for those who have certain, I guess, playlists, so to speak, or watch list favorites within the rundown. So this one, again, FKT Fridays, we're going to take you through, and this big thanks to the crew at fastestknowntime.com. That's really where we're plugging or pulling all this information from, and typically we'll plug the logo in front of you or behind me when I'm using the green screen, which is not now. And I was hoping these segments would all be under 10 minutes or so, or give or take as a sweet spot. I filmed the results one for this week yesterday, plugged it today, and I think that still ended up being like 20 or 30 minutes. So I think really to cover still these events, to provide some voices from event directors and entrants, some of them will just end up being longer. I was thinking for the FKT episode this week that maybe it would be a bit lighter, that things would start falling off a bit as we get into the shoulder season. But it looked like it was kind of cranking out there. So nice work to y'all. Let's dig in. All right, Connecticut. Frequent flyer here, Scott Livingston. He's been hitting it along with Debbie. So 5 hours, 8 minutes for the baseline time of the 23.5 mile Pauchaug trail, and plus 7 extra bike miles for the duathlon version. And that version entails, well, actually we'll plug the image here of the course format, but it's basically an upside down U. And the duathlon version, just they used a bike to connect the lower pieces rather than driving. So for a bit of household suspense, Scott bested Debbie's time from only 3 weeks ago by only 8 minutes. Looking forward to Debbie, you hitting it back for that overall title. And following up on that suit, Laura Becker and Debbie Livingston, 7 hours, 33 minutes for the Tunxis trail circuit. For the female supported mark, 45 minutes under the prior best from September. Now, if I remember catching Debbie's post for this one, they've been getting out there a lot. I mean, I guess that's what you guys have always been doing individually, and I think as a family. But I think you just mentioned you were kind of run down from these back-to-back like hard efforts. So great job. Massachusetts, Michael Taylor, 1 hour, 3 minutes for the 10.7 mile Shining Sea Bikeway Rail Trail, which is a baseline mark. Kate Gallineau, 2 hours, 59 minutes on the 23 kilometer Worcester East-West Trail. In Maine, actually, I'm going to save Maine for the end. New York, Waylaw, 8 hours, 11 minutes for the out and back men's unsupported mark on the Nassau-Suffolk Greenbelt Trail. Miles Fenton and Jay Johnson, 6 hours, 53 minutes for a male supported time over the old Croton Aqueduct Trail. And this is a pretty sweet resource. I used to have, with a partner, Ben Drew, another run specialty store over in Croton on Hudson, the Hudson Valley. And as we were deciding on really where to set up shop for that store, just getting out and running Croton a bit, ran up and around the old aqueduct in that reservoir area, and pretty spectacular. But the route goes from Manhattan, 40, how many miles? 45 miles, 42 miles north to the Croton Reservoir. Especially coming out of the city and being able to connect all that, pretty cool and historic loop, or historic point-to-point rather, a trail. So Miles Fenton and Jay Johnson at 6 hours, 53 minutes. Great job. Sarah Keyes, 1 hour, 40 minutes for the Big Slide Mountain, an iconic Adirondack high peak and pretty sweet 7.5 mile out and back route. The route climbs 2,800 feet in the opening 3.6 miles. Pretty burly, especially over exposed rock sections to be hammering. Sarah's women's unsupported mark is the third fastest on record, 4 minutes off of Frankie DeSoma, who's currently, I'm catching some nice images of him having a blast running. I think he's in Arches or somewhere in Utah at the moment. They got a fresh snowpack cover, some sunshine, just looks beautiful. In any case, 4 minutes off Frankie's time from June of this year, and as the second fastest male time. So Sarah, great job. And just a weekend later, just this past weekend, I believe, 2 hours and 28 minutes on the Giant and Rocky Peak Ridge. This is one that she cued me into when I asked about it after covering Giant with my daughter a couple months ago. It's just a beautiful, sounds like 10-mile point-to-point, 5,300 feet of climbing, and she shaved off 34 minutes from Bethany Gerritsen's mark from October 17th. So great job, Sarah. Tristan Baxendale, 9 hours, 45 minutes for a baseline mark of the out and back 50 mile of the Finger Lakes Trail Letchworth branch. This branch has been getting some action this summer, but this was most of it, I think, is the one-way form as opposed to Tristan's out and back. Stephen Young, 1 hour, 9 minutes for the 8.2 mile Highland Forest M Loop, besting his own prior mark by 12 seconds. Eesh, that was pretty close. At least you're consistent, Stephen. Brendan Ferrara, 4 hours, 54 minutes for a new male unsupported mark on the 22 mile Ramapo Dunderberg Trail in Harriman State Park. And Justin Kowski continuing to click them off. This one, 11 hours, 55 minutes for a baseline out and back on the Suffern Bear Mountain Trail, running 26 miles from end to end in Bear Mountain, Harriman State Park. So great job, Justin. And PA, Jenny Kimball and Bethany Payne, 7 hours, 39 minutes over the 36 mile Schuylkill River Trail for a baseline supported mixed gender team mark. In Virginia, Kevin Schaefer, 18 hours, 38 minutes for a baseline out and back mark on the 85 kilometer Virginia Capitol Trail, a double wide paved bicycle path. The women's mark set in June of this year is over an hour quicker, set by Whitney Richmond, who just happened to win this past weekend's Rim to River 100 and who we featured on this week's results rundown. So check it out. It was the episode I plugged on YouTube, or went live with yesterday on YouTube, and Whitney just cued us into how Rim to River went. Craig Randall, 49 minutes, 51 seconds for the Fortunes Cove Preserve Loop, a baseline men's unsupported mark. In Vermont, Jeremy Huckins, 3 hours, 27 minutes for the 18 mile Bolton Backcountry Round outside of Waterbury. Jeremy's time shaves off 31 minutes from Robert Reeves' Rives' time from June of this year. And a multi-state one, PA, Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia. Lauren Kramer, 10 hours, 34 minutes for the female unsupported mark on the 45 mile AT's 4-state challenge, lowering the mark from September by just under an hour. So going back up to Maine. Oh, and actually I almost forgot, two more. Also back into New York. This past weekend I had the opportunity to accompany through the night, or most of the night, a friend, Scotty Jacobs. He was setting off on his own, it becomes an FKT as well. We'll call it the Hammond Hill 100. And our good friend Vinny Capadora from Happily Running, and also an RD out there, made him a buckle. We'll plug in a photo here for the effort. Vinny also was able to go through most of the night with him, but just set off for 100 miles on his own. In all that's going on in 2020, just for sure needing to be out there for mental health and just to get out after it. So for Scotty, taking on 100 miles on your own and to finish the way that you did, pretty incredible, man. Very inspirational, and it was wonderful to be able to share some miles with you. So nice work, brother. And then Maine, Brian Colmo, 6 hours, 1 minute for a baseline mark on the Acadia Mountain Marathon route. It's 26.2 technical miles through the heart of Acadia National Park, and the route summits almost every per the FKT route description. The route summits almost every major peak, passing by beautiful lakes and trails. And I'm going to plug a photo here, cued to the person who should get the credit, the photographer. It'll be listed on the photo. I kept it up there. But an absolutely stunning photo. And so part of my interest in going through all these FKTs, and hopefully it'll cue some of yours as well, is just being exposed to so many amazing routes and places and locations out there. So in the year of 2020, where we didn't have a lot of the traditional events, FKTs, I think, took on a new fun and important just entity of their own. But beyond that, even beyond 2020, again, it just really exposes me to really amazing places. And so this is one that I would love to go spend some time in. So Maine is not exactly around the corner, but at one of these trips up there, maybe the route established here with the Acadia Mountain Marathon is going to be one that I'll go at after. At a probably much slower effort. In any case, that's what we got for this week's with FKT Fridays. Just under 10 minutes. Thanks for tuning in, and I will check you Monday. See ya!